Hi, and welcome to Pathfinder Mastermind. My name is Wendy Rosenthal. I'm here with my
We are not
amazing
live.
colleague. Huh?
We're not live. Live.
Hi, and welcome to Pathfinder Mastermind. My name is Wendy Rosenthal. I'm here with my amazing colleague, Rachel Madar, and we are here today to talk about bridging the gap between business, practicality, and spirituality. I've been, how are you today, Rachel?
I'm amazing, actually. I've been listening to 80s songs since this morning. It's like
I'm so excited.
Brought up my spirit, Dolly Parton, different music.
I love it.
I'm happy. I'm happy. It's one of I highly recommend to start your morning with uplifting music.
Awesome. So Rachel and I are part of Pathfinder1to1.com. We are business and spiritual coaches where we are looking to share with people how to infuse spirituality into what is a very practical thing, our business, our career. But our many years of experience in both business and spirituality has led us to understand that when we infuse that kind of spiritual thinking into business practice, honestly, not only does our success level in business go up, but our fulfillment level in life goes up. You know, mixing our career and our personal lives become like we get passionate about what we're doing in a much better way. So we come to you whenever we're feeling like it. So it's usually once or twice a week, and we talk about some of the things that come up in our sessions with our clients, what's on their minds, what kind of feedback we're giving them. And today we are talking about a topic that kind of came off of one of my clients that I was talking to who didn't achieve something that they really wanted to. And, you know, it happens to all of us, Rachel. I mean, I've been in business for 20 odd years, and, you know, I've had times where I didn't get the client that I wanted, or I didn't get the job, or I was working really hard on finishing a deal and it blew up at the very end. Or, you know, I had a client where I was working on it, everything seemed to be going smoothly, and then all of a sudden everything changed and the project went away. And it's super frustrating. You know, we start to think about, what did I do wrong? We start to think about, we start to blame, or I did, you know, it's their fault, it's the economy's fault. I mean, I even remember, I hate to say it, where I was working on a big, huge deal overseas in the Middle East, and 9/11 happened. And literally there wasn't anything that I could do that was going to save that deal, because the world was in turmoil at that particular moment, and particularly as it related to the Middle East. So, you know, over the years in my career, I've had to learn how to understand, not only on a physical level, like what does it mean, or practical level, how can I recoup what I've lost? How can I reset my business? You know, where's my strategy? Or even personally, like, what did I do wrong? How could I have been better as a consultant? Or what could I be doing to make myself more attractive to get a job, or whatever it was? Because I've been around a spiritual practice for a really long time, I started to ask the question, like, what's happening metaphysically, right? And I'll just give you a quick example. You know, even recently, I had a very big project that was going on in New York for a long time. And it was going along. And then all of a sudden, at the end of last year, it stopped. And it was very frustrating for me. When I stopped for a minute and kind of got past okay, this is so odd, it was going so well, and I asked myself the question, what could be happening metaphysically? Even though I couldn't answer the question at that moment, just having that thought changed my way of thinking a little bit. And then, just to finish the story quickly, as it turns out, as everybody knows, New York was literally the epicenter of the first wave of the coronavirus. And had I been actually going to New York as often as I was going every week, there was a high likelihood I would have gotten sick, because I was on airplanes and I was in the middle of Manhattan. And there was a high likelihood that I could have, you know, infected my husband. It was like, with a couple of months, I look back and went, oh my gosh, thank goodness I didn't, thank God that project ended. right? So metaphysically, what do you think is going on? Like, is there a reason why these things happen, not just in the practical world?
There's this say that there's always a reason why things are happening, right? In spirituality, we know that there are no coincidences. Unfortunately, when we live in this realm of physicality, which we call it sometimes the 1%, we do not understand why things are happening. So we often say, oh, it's not fair, or it's like, what's going on? Why did he do this? Why this project didn't go through? Why this client left? Why my business is not successful and I have to close it? So many, I call it the 1% questions. In one hand, it's amazing to ask those questions, as you suggested, like really to ask questions, because but if we ask a question, we need to know that, to accept also the answers that will come with that. And most of the time, it's really about us taking the responsibility and understanding that maybe there's something that we did do or did not do in that process. But of course, there's also the spiritual realm, like the understanding of the metaphysical understanding. And it brings me to an example that I've shared once in one of my lectures about something to this regard. And like it talks about this person that really wanted to open a flower shop. Like all his life, he dreamed about opening a flower shop. And he created a whole business plan, and he knew exactly who are the suppliers. He found the right location. He found everything. And the only thing that was missing is the money, which exactly is about investor that will invest in this. And he went and he offered it to different people, and he actually got someone to invest in him. But that person, the investor, came to him and says, I trust you, I believe in you, I know you can make it happen, and I'm willing to give you the money that you want. But I would like you to open a shoe shop, not a flower shop.
That's annoying.
And the question I've always asked, like, what that person's supposed to do? What the person that's supposed to do? To say, okay, great, I'll take the money and I'll open a shoe shop? Or should he stop and says, no, but my dream is a flower shop, and I will continue till I find the right investor to invest in my flower shop? So what would you do? And I'm going to give you some answers, but I'm just raising it because it's like, really, what am I going to give up my dreams?
Right.
And I'm going to go and open a shoe shop? What should I do? In the spiritual content, in the spiritual teaching, it mentioned to us to go ahead, because this is an opening that opened for us as an opportunity. And what are the opportunities? What are the lessons that we can learn from it? The guy wants to invest, he believes in you, but he wants you to open a shoe shop, and you have no clue about this. So what is that will teach us through that process? It will teach us how to make inventory, how to contact with suppliers, how to deal with money, how to handle clients, how to go about and have a store that it's open from 9 in the morning and maybe till 7 p.m. at night, and to see if it works for me. We can learn so much from this. Maybe after X amount of time, we'll figure it out that, maybe actually I love to have the shoe shop, and it doesn't matter if I have a shoe shop or flower shop. My passion is to be in that business that serve and cater clients, or I'll figure out, what, I've done it, I've learned so much from it, but flower shop is my passion and I'm going there, but thank you for all the teaching and the lessons that I've learned. So that in a spiritual sense, everything that we're going through, as we said earlier, there are no coincidences. There's so many reasons why things are happening, and the only thing that we need to do, or one of the things that we need to do, is like go with the flow, which means go with what the universe brings.
Right. And I want to pick up on
if the deal didn't work out, if the client sure,
sorry, go ahead.
No.
Well, I want to pick up on that point, because it's something that we talked about in our last broadcast, that the there is a universal truth that, when you really ask for something and you really want something to happen, that the universe provides it. It's already there, right? It's already there. It's just you tapping into it. We talked a lot about that last time. So one of the things also that I've learned is that when, in that vein, when something isn't happening, for me, it's like a gentle nudge from the universe to rethink or to look at it differently, in the same way that, you're talking about flower shop, shoe shop, that if something isn't happening, instead of getting frustrated or angry or blaming or feeling like you aren't doing something right in your business, or like, I'm the CEO and I've made a mistake, or whatever it is, that if you look at it and you reframe it from that perspective, along with what you're saying, is that in a way that says, okay, so maybe I'm doing this big deal and I've been working on it really hard and it's coming down to it, and something keeps stopping it. If something keeps stopping it, instead of looking in the physical world, connecting to maybe there's a bigger picture, and maybe this isn't the best company for me to be doing this deal with, or maybe the terms of this deal, there's something that's really not exactly right. Let me go back and look at it again. Or if somebody walks away, if a company walks away or a deal walks away or something falls through, to have that reframe, like to reframe it and say, maybe there's something coming that's bigger than what this was going to be, that I couldn't even imagine yet. So let me get prepared for it. So it's alongside with what you're saying, is not only learning when an opportunity comes to you and it's different than what you expected, right? To kind of embrace it, but also to use these, I hate to say negative things, but use these blockages, these stoppages, or these things that feel like they're taking you off the path that you want to be on, really as like gentle nudges to the path you should be on. Like, what's next?
It's kind of like, in bowling, for the kids when they
Yeah.
play in the bowling alley, right?
Yeah.
For them to have strike, you have those, how do you call it in English?
They're
Those
like
things that
the
come up on
bumpers. I use
the
that
bumpers.
example with my clients all the time, like the
Exactly.
bumpers.
Exactly. So you have the bumpers to align them to be on the path. And this is how the universe work with us. Like we have those bumpers to align us on the path. But it's not just to understand that it's an opportunity and maybe with that person will not work, we can do the business with another person. I believe it's also to teach us different traits. For
Right.
example, I have this client that got a real estate a license recently, but she does also other business, but she went through those tests and achieved this license because she wanted to see if she can make more money to sustain herself. So whether to do it or not to do it, to do the two businesses, to go with this or not, working with her for X amount of time and understanding who she is, I suggested to her to add this additional job opposition, not for the reason of making money, because for the reason of learning how she handling rejections.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because, and this is another subject that we'll talk about it in one of our sessions, but it's like how you handling rejections. When I remember like 27 years ago, I was in a telemarketing business. And my first day in the job, which I really didn't like it, but my first day in the job, the guy who was my mentor at that time told me, every day you need to make 100 phone calls that you'll get 100 no's.
Yeah.
You'll get the rejection. So you will know how to handle rejections, that you will not take it too personally. You know that it's part of the business till you get the first one that will say yes. And when you get that yes, it will motivate you to do much more. So
Right.
sometimes, when we get to know about different business deals, opportunities, jobs, this doesn't work. Of course, there are all bumpers in the way to put us on the path. It's also a learning stage, because when we know how to handle rejections, we know how to handle the no's, we're balancing more and more of ourself and more of our
Right.
emotions that
Right.
comes into line.
And one thing also I want to add is that sometimes, again, those rejections or those, not just rejections, when things fall apart, it allows us to be more creative. So it's almost like the universe is giving you the chance to
Yes,
rethink, to be more creative,
absolutely.
to see things from other
Such a good point.
angles,
It's such a good point.
right?
Exactly.
And so really, and I know it's hard. Look, I've had to answer to boards before. Nobody wants to go in front of their board and say, we didn't make our numbers this quarter, right? Nobody wants to do that. It's hard and it's difficult. Or, this deal didn't happen that everybody was counting on, or, we didn't get this investment that we were supposed to get. It's very, very difficult. But but in the same vein, it's almost like, in those moments, if you can take a second and go, okay, thanks, universe, I get it. Like, I get that there's something bigger here I'm supposed to see, and really embrace that moment, then you will be shocked at what happens the next steps and the next steps. And like you're saying, you build up internal learning, you build up internal resilience to external, like we haven't talked yet about internal, external. We've talked a little bit about it. There's so many positives that come out of it. And who knows, also there's another spiritual concept of, and we all, and maybe people don't even think it's that spiritual, but if it's meant to be your deal, if you're meant to have that money, if you're meant to have that partner, you're going to have it. This just might be the test that you have to go through in order to help you see your desire for what you're doing, help you really be clear about what it is that you're stepping into. You and I were debating a little bit about the idea that sometimes the universe is, and I'm going to say it out loud, sometimes the universe is protecting us from things that we can't see. So if you take that moment and go, hey, maybe there's some protection here or something I'm missing, it's like, it's
and
a
everyone can
moment.
Yeah, and everyone can look back into their life to reflect moments that they really wanted badly, so something, and it's not just in business, in every area in their life, you really wanted badly and you didn't receive it. And looking back, maybe a few years after or a few months after, was it really for the best,
Right,
for you? Like, it was benefiting you? Like, I'm sure that most of the time it benefited you in one way or another. In one way or another.
You'll find it and you'll see it.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things, we always like to connect with what Rachel and I do at Pathfinder 1-to-1. It's not always easy to get past it. And it's not always easy to see it that way. And that's one of the things that I think we are doing a lot with our clients, is helping in those moments to kind of go, okay, like, let's take pushing and inspiring them to kind of reframe the situation and really start to move forward. And the trickle, by the way, if you're a CEO, if you're at the top, if you're a C-suite executive, right? Hi, Molly. If you're a C-suite executive, then that mentality trickles down and to the people who are under you. And when that happens, I've seen it actually. It is quite amazing how the culture of the company shifts. Not that you don't fight hard for those deals, not that you don't fight hard to do the things you want to do, but when it doesn't happen, the reaction to it, all the way down to the lower levels of the company, really shift in a way that gives you more success than you even realize. Oh, excuse me, I had to sneeze. It must be true. I sneezed on it. So all of you C-suite executives out there listening, it must be true.
It's like, it's allowing us also to behave in the business world in more grace and compassion.
Yes.
And less fighting and arguing and bad mouthing other people. there's always a bigger picture. There's
Yeah.
always a bigger picture. Even
Yeah.
this morning, in browsing in social media, I saw this one person who posted that the other guy like stole his logo and his business idea, and for you to know that. And there were different comments. I was interested to see what the comment of the people in that page, and most of the comment were to the favor of the guy. How can he do that to you, and so forth. But there was one person wrote there, and was it very interesting. One person out of like the 100 comments there that says, you know what, maybe there's a bigger picture. Maybe you can look about things that relates to you. Maybe there's a reason for it, and so forth. Why don't you look at it in that regard? So we don't want to be too spiritual about it, but
Right.
just think about the idea of like, if each one of us will just ask those questions, how much compassion and kindness that can come into your workspace, your world,
Right.
and reduce the frustration, reduce the anger, reduce all those bad feelings and
Right.
bad mouthing each other.
Right. And I do want to say one more thing. One of my, spiritual teacher that I really respect once said this a long time ago when in a very interesting conversation about business and spirituality. If in those moments, somebody blew up a deal and there was a legal issue, or somebody stole something from you that you own, whatever, in business, he said, and I believe this, he goes, you have to go and take care of that. We're not sitting here saying, oh, let it go.
No,
Just,
no, absolutely.
no,
You're absolutely right.
We're saying you got to take care of it. So something, in that process of it blowing up, if some, or some not getting something, or the deal falling through, whatever it is, there was some real legal issues. You got to go through with it. But if you're going through it with the consciousness in your mind, okay, that there's a good reason, a bigger reason why this didn't happen, why this happened the way it did. And as I go through that process, I'm injecting that thought that I'm not just going through the process to get even. I'm going through this process because it needs to happen. But I'm also at the same time reframing and saying, okay, what is this showing me? What's next? What do I need to learn? How can I make it better? See it in a different way. It's amazing. It's amazing what it'll do, even through a lawsuit, when you have that consciousness, right? So take care of business.
You're absolutely right. Like about that last example I gave with that comment of that person, the feeling I had is maybe it was like even out of the nature of that person to write about that his business was stolen. Maybe it is like overcoming the lack of confrontation, like he's trying to confront, and this is the best way he found. So in any way there is a lesson. So you're absolutely right. It doesn't mean that you're not working in legal manner or taking care of business, for sure, but we need to see so it's a good point that you mentioned that. It's not like we're trying to say, oh no, you need to be all spiritual.
No.
Yeah, you need to do the business. You need to do what's required, but with the right consciousness that it will be a win-win to everyone.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, we could go on about this, and in this conversation, it brought up many other things that we want to talk about. Also, I want to touch on the fact that, so much of emotions can drive where business deals go, and where hiring people, like so many things we can talk about, and we will in the next few weeks. So please make sure that you tune back in. As I said, Rachel and I are pathfinders. We work with clients at every level of business, those looking to get into business, those who are already in it, who are also just going through their career and want some advice about how to make it more fulfilling. You can find us at www.pathfinder1to1.com. That's Pathfinder, the number one, TO, the number one.com. We welcome any of your comments and questions. If you have any questions about our services, please feel free to reach out. And until then, when we can talk more about business and spirituality, we wish you an amazing week. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you. And you can share this video clip with your friends and in the groups that you are familiar with. We would love to get your comments.
Exactly. And you can find us on all the social media platforms. All right. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.